I'm going to tell you a secret. It's a secret all tyrants know, and yet the civilians, the citizens of their population, oftentimes don't know. They don't realize it. You ready? The tyrants are scared, and they're not that powerful. And it's crazy when you think about that, right? When you think about the government. Let's use ours, for example. We're actually not going to talk about America here quite yet, but let's use ours. You think about the president, and you think to yourself, man, president, he's got an army around him and Secret Service and FBI doing whatever he wants. The president is all powerful. Here I am, a lowly citizen. Let me tell you something. The president is well aware the people of the United States of America are much, much, much more powerful than he is. We're a peaceful people, as we should be, and that's good. We want to stay that way. But the president knows. And this goes well beyond presidents and prime ministers. Tyrants throughout history have always known this. This is just something they figure out because they always rise to power this way. They figure out, man, it could be me next. Hitler knew it, Stalin knew it, Mao knew it, Gaddafi knew it, Saddam knew it, they all knew it. That's part of the reason tyrants are so brutal on their population. They're always trying to beat people down and make them so scared so the people get under the impression that the tyrant is this all-powerful being. The tyrant never is. The tyrant banks on people being divided and people being scared and people not realizing they hold all the power. Would you like a prime example? Canada is a powerful nation. I know that's funny to say, but no, they are. They're a big-time, big boy, powerful nation. And they have had a tyrant named Justin Trudeau in charge for some time. And Justin Trudeau, he knows, he understands that his power is not universal. He gets it. The people probably didn't realize this for a while. So Trudeau did what almost all tyrants seem to do. He just kept pressing them and pressing them and pressing them and pressing them. Just keep poking them in the ribs and poking them in the ribs and poking them in the ribs. I don't know why tyrants do this, but they all seem to make this mistake. And finally, he poked one too many times, and the people who make a nation go, truckers, they've had quite enough of it. That's the sound of freedom right there. So what's happening? They organized this gigantic trucker convoy. They descended onto Ottawa. The shelves are empty. People, freedom-loving Canadians are coming out. Justin Trudeau packed it up and ran away terrified, as tyrants always seem to do. But then Justin Trudeau started making public statements, threats. Get rid of these. These are racist. All these things, started making these public statements. Well, something happened. The protests didn't go away. The protests began to grow. As you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, the protests are still growing. That means Justin Trudeau already lost. Some major Canadian politicians are already stepping up and saying, we lost. Let's give people their freedom back. This is the leader of Saskatchewan. It's one of the Canadian provinces. They're states, mind you.
What's necessary is your freedom. What's necessary is getting your life back to normal. And it's time. I want to thank all of you for the sacrifices that you've made over the past 2 years. I know the people of Saskatchewan are ready for these next steps, and you're going to be hearing more details about these next steps in the days ahead.
Oh, they're caving. And look, what happens when tyrants begin to lose power like this is they seek out all their friends to try to get them to hang on to power. You see this trucker convoy raised over $10 million. There's a massive popular uprising behind it. $10 million got behind this thing. Only they raised it on GoFundMe. Don't ever do that, by the way. They raised it on GoFundMe. GoFundMe froze the money. That's what happens. Keep in mind, this is the same GoFundMe that shut down all the Kyle Rittenhouse fundraisers, even though Kyle Rittenhouse was not guilty and everybody knew it. Again, stop using GoFundMe. But besides that, systems do everything in their power when they get scared and desperate and they feel like that power is being taken away from their hands. You see American truckers right now, they're organizing a major convoy too, as they should. Go get them, truckers. They're talking about sending this convoy to Washington, D.C. Can you imagine what a sight that would be? And they're starting to organize. And what are they doing to organize? What are they using to organize? Well, same thing we all do. They're all getting online. They're getting on various social media sites like Facebook. Well, they were anyway. You see, Facebook just decided to ban the trucker group that was organizing a peaceful protest. That is funny, because when illegal immigrants were invading the United States of America, as they still are, I guess I shouldn't say were, when illegal immigrants were invading the United States of America, they organized it on Facebook and WhatsApp, and it was never shut down at all. Now, what am I talking about? Why am I bringing this up? Well, here's why I'm bringing this up. The truckers. This thing is big. This thing is starting to extend not just to America, this is starting to extend to Europe. We are about to see, I feel this coming, we're about to see a real popular uprising where the people in all nations, in all Western nations who've been crushed by these tyrants, are going to start rising up and peacefully resisting. Okay, that's the good news. Well, here's some bad news. Not the end of the world, but it's some bad news. Don't think the tyrants who've spent the last 2 years abusing you, rubbing their naked corruption in your face at every turn, rubbing their high life in your face, no mask on, vacations in Florida where they lock you down and jab your kids. Don't think these tyrants are just going to let it go easily or quietly. That simply is not something that happens very often. They are going to fight back. They are desperate, scared people, and they're going to do everything they can to hang on to power. They will. They're going to pull the Facebook moves. They're going to use all their friends in federal law enforcement. They're going to do everything they can do to try to quell this uprising. Don't let them. Do not be intimidated. And don't ever, ever, ever think they're in charge. Hey, thanks so much for watching the first on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.